Hello, my name is Debbie and I am the owner of Just Peaches Design, and I am going to show you tonight how to take Dollar Tree pumpkins and kind of glam them up with material and trim. And I'll show you the type of material that I use and what I consider that's best to use or easiest when you're first doing them. You can either get the four-way stretch is probably the easiest type of material, and that would be this type where it stretches in both directions. So when you cut it, no matter how you do it, it will fit in. This right here is a woven, and that one sometimes can be a little bit difficult putting on because you got to fit it in and it doesn't give as much. And this is selecting your material. What I do, your ideal pumpkin is one that has 8 little slices in through here, and I usually will pick out whatever is going to be my main material, whatever my theme is going to be. And I cut out 4 of those because I like to have at least 4 on the pumpkin. And then I'll get 2 that are going to be the corresponding, the accent materials that are going to be in there. And this one is woven, and this one is, this is a stretch of velour. That's a stretch, is like a one-way stretch. And this one it's not a 100% cotton. I like the cotton ones the best because they seem to really grip the pumpkins in that. This one has a shiny back, and these are a little bit more difficult. Not really hard, but I mean to get it in there without it slipping and things, because these will slip. So what I do first when I have a pumpkin, because each one is a different size and everything, I will take it. This one came from the Dollar Tree, and this is one of the Dollar Tree pumpkins right here. This one had material. These are all from last year, and I bought them. And you just take the material off of it. And they have little grooves in this one. Just strip it off. Now this one, you could do it just in the 4 halves. So you could use just 2 different types of material on it. And it's already got the grooves in it. Take out all these little... I use the X-Acto knife. It's my best friend when I'm doing these things. It's what I like to do with. And I've never seen this one before, but this one already has the grooves already in it. So you could actually cut this one where you would measure it. You need this from sewing, one of these, Amazon or Joann's or somewhere you could get it. And you measure from the tip to the widest part all the way down to where it connects there. So this one, I would probably I would make it at least 5.5 inches long, and then I would measure it across. Now, see with these, this one, I would go like this. This is what I'm going to demonstrate on. I've already cut this one, and I'll show you how to cut it. I take it, and I go down to 6. Then I take it and I measure it. I measure each one of the little things. So that says, if it's 6, I would make it 8. So I'd make it 8 inches long. And then this is like 1 1/4. So I would go probably, I wouldn't go 2 because that would be a lot, but I would go beyond a half. So when I do that, I do it on cardstock. And this is my different measurements for different kinds of pumpkins that I have previously done. I lay it out. I use a cardstock. I think I got some over here. And so if we are going to be using like this one, I would go measure it. This one is almost 7 inches. This is what I use today to cut my ones. So I would mark it here, I'd mark it there. Then across, I would go to whatever it is, my widest part of this, and then I would mark it here and mark it there. And I mark it, and I make sure I do it in the middle of these 2 lines. So when I use a ruler to do that, measure it off. And then I measure whatever is my middle in between here, which would be here. I put a line here on it, a line however wide it is. This one was, I want to say 2.5. So I'd mark it here to here. And then once I do that, I would take it like this. You have your bottom part there. You're going to have this as your middle. Mark it over here, and then here. And then I would just drive it, draw it down, because you're making more of a, like a diamond. And cut it out, and then you just kind of fine tune it after you get it in. I like making mine a little bit more. I'd rather cut off the material than be short. Don't ask me why, but that's just how I feel about it. That's how I do it. And then I use this. And these I cut them out first, but then I took some material off because these are all the stretchy materials. This is a one-way stretch. It goes this way, so it's going to be easier, but it does have the shiny back, so you got to be careful about it not coming out. This one is two-way, which is the ideal kind of material because no matter how you cut it, no matter what you do, it's going to bring it down. You are going to, you'll be able to fit it in there regardless of how you've cut it. This is a two-way too, but this is very thin. It does have the shiny back. I think this one is a woven. Now the woven doesn't give as much, so you gotta, that's why I always will make it, you know, a little bit bigger, because you might need more material here, but you won't here. You're gonna cut off more, you know, it's all in what your preference is. And once you make your little, once you make this, you can take it and shape it however you want it. If you wanna make it less, you can do that. I always like mine a little bit more because of that. Then after I have done that, I take this little knife, and it's good if you have, you know, a fresh blade in it when you're doing this. And I just go from here, and I just go right down, make a slit all the way. You want to make sure you make your slit all the way to the middle of this. You want them all to come in. So you know, you don't have to go all the way in with the blade. You're just making a little slit, so you'll be able to stick that material right inside there. And then I just do that with each one of my humps there. Like I'm making a little slice. I do this same thing when I'm making the decorator balls with the styrofoam. And I do prefer the smooth styrofoam for the balls, because it just makes it a lot easier. Bring it in. Now this one has 10. I don't really, you know, I really prefer one that is 8 because everything just seems to work much better, but you can still do it without any problem. Now this type of pumpkin that has a cover on it, that's like this one over here. You can use these because I've covered a few. I think this one here was one that I did, one of my little models. This one was just like that one. And I'm not sure where I got these from. I just know these came from the dollar store, these smaller ones. I don't think those did. Anyways, you just have to be careful when you're cutting this, because you've got to, you know, more or less cut, bringing it down, making sure you get in there with it, and you do the same thing. It's just a little bit harder to do than it is with just straight styrofoam. The styrofoam is quite easy. Just want to go around each little piece here, each little line, to cut it out. Because what I do is I tuck my material in through this little cut that I'm making in this. is where I stash my edges at. And I make more or less like a little bit of a trench, you know, once I put my material in here, it's going to be like a little trench. But I like it that way only because it's really good with the glue, because then you got somewhere for the glue, and then if you use a really small trim on it, you don't have to worry about the glue, you know, oozing out, because you're more or less going to fill that little line up. Okay, this is one that I did that I covered. This one I covered too. Right here, this one's really pretty. I also made this stem, and I made this stem with a molding clay. And let me see, this one I made too. I made the stem on this one with molding clay, and then I painted it. This one I wanted to do with silver. This one I did with a brown, and then I took some gold and white through it, you know, to let it dry. But I was kind of shocked how I'm not really a sculptor or anything. These don't look bad. This one I forgot about, and I didn't get to round off my little edges, so they're a little bit pointy. But, hey, I think they look real good. But that's that molding clay that is really, it's wonderful stuff. And this one, now this is the one, this one top is not glued on yet. This one is just like, I think this is the same as this. And this was, I think this was the first one that I did. And this is done with the velour on it. You just have to be careful you don't cut yourself, because it's not as easy as just a straight styrofoam to cut through it. So we're going to take this, and because I'm going to have some, not the even numbers, I am gonna kind of set this on first to see what my pattern is gonna be, because I want to be kind of uniform. Over there, that one, and see, we have 3 over here, so we're gonna go there. And this one we're gonna have 4, so I think maybe I will go here, and 2. Let's go here with 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay, that's the way I'm going to do it. 2, 1, 2, 1. I mean, I could have done it and covered 2 of these at one time on each side, but it still wouldn't have worked out because it's 10. So that's how we're going to do it. So what I do is I take the edge. Now I cut this out a little bit more so then I can cut off my tips here and down there after I get it put in. But I usually clamp it there, and then I clamp it down at the bottom here, so I know I've got enough on each side. Then I take my little X-Acto knife and I just shove it down in that cut that you've made all the way down. Yeah, this material here is like, this is a dream, because no matter what you do, you can't screw it up. See, now there's a little bit extra, but I'm gonna cut that off. Just right around the edges, and make sure that you have enough in there so that you don't end up leaving yourself short. Then just tuck it in. And down here I usually will pull this out so that I can make sure that I don't have a big wad at the bottom. And then I just cut off the tip wherever my finger is to hold it there. And then punch it in. See, and you can see that all your edges are in, because you have to have enough room for the edges for your next material to go in. So let's put this one on. And what I do when I'm putting that in there, I'm not using the knife edge. When I'm sticking it in, I'm taking the top part of this blade that's not the cutting edge, and that's what I stick it in there with. See, you can stretch that to, with this type of material, you can stretch it to fit right in there. And even if it's not cut correctly or anything, you can still get it in. I think I shoved a little bit too much in there. Let's take it out. Start that again. Yeah, when you lay it out, you want to make sure you got enough on each side to stick in. Now, I cut these down from what I originally cut, and I might have, if I didn't really know what I was doing, I could have made that too short. And then I would have been very, very angry because I'd had to cut another piece, and that piece would have been wasted. I take this little tip off there, take your blade and just stick it right in there. So we got 4, so we're going to do this one here, and then we'll have 2 there. Stretch it out. See, and this is my prominent color that I'm using. That's why I'm putting the most in of it. And my material, most of the material I have gotten at Joann Fabrics. But this stuff, the shiny stuff, this stuff I got at, they sell it at Joann's, and it's like $19 a yard. But I got that at Walmart, and it is the same exact material, and I think it was $3 something a yard. Because I think they sell a lot of that, like recital, more swimsuit type stuff, but I think it's more like less the recital material, because they have it in every color. Not all the Walmarts carry all of it, but I found one out by me that does. And they have every color under the sun. So now I'm going to flip this back here, because we don't need that piece, and you can just cut it off. Because you're going to have a stem coming out of there. Just take the tip right off. And my scissors are brand new, and I went and made the mistake of getting some glue off of something with them, and I gummed them up. And it really, really angers me that I've already messed them up. So we got 1 there. We're going to put this one here, and then we'll have 2 here. Well, maybe we want to do that. Do I want to do that, or do I want to put it here? And it won't be even on both sides. No. I'm going to put it here. I usually try to start both sides, so then you know you've got enough material on the other side too. Then stretch it down. I can't read anything. I'm half blind. Hello, Suzanne. And pull it on out to the end. Cheryl's answering all my questions for me. Thank you, Cheryl, for being there. Because you know what? I can't read any of that stuff. I'm going to have to get me a gigantic TV so I can make the font really big. Either that or I need some new eyeballs. See? Real cheap. All right. Let's see. What do I want to do? All right, let's go with this. We're going to put this one here. Now this one is probably cut way too big because of this. It stretches a lot. Stretches more so than I think any of them. But we're just going to stick it in there. I'll go through them all. Cut it off. Trim it up a little bit. This one, this type of material though, you really got to be careful with because it slips and slides. I don't know how else to describe it. You can think you have it in there and you'll pull on the other side and it'll come out. I really screwed up my scissors. So let's punch that in. And these are really cute. You could put these on, dolly them all up and put them on a table, in a bowl, or use them in your attachments, on your reefs. I mean, what I seen in January for this fall, they showed all sorts of pumpkins done like this, with the trims and the velvets or with the golds. This one here. Now this is a woven, so this one doesn't give as much. Push it in there. And you try not to push in, you know, stretch that material too much when you're doing it. And come over to this side. Sometimes with this, if it doesn't, you know, you might get a little crease in it, and you just have to push it down, and you can usually take that crease right out. And if it just has a little crease, you really, once the trim's on, you're not really going to see it. Or you just pull it out and then push it in. Over here it's got a little bit of a crease, so we're going to pull that out. Smooth it and then just crease it in. I usually put my thumb there where I want to, for my little guide to be able to cut it off, so that I don't cut too much off, because I've done that too. Once you have trim on, you know, you can cover up anything that doesn't look just perfect there anyways. This one has a tendency to maybe get a little bit more crinkly because of the raised edge on it. It's not smooth. color. Oh, this one. Now this actually has, you got to make sure you got this right going, because otherwise it doesn't, you don't really get to see the leathery, you know, the snake skinny kind of look. If you flip it this way, it doesn't show off as much. You want it to go smooth up. And this one has some stretch to it. This one I know came from Joann's because it was expensive, but I think I got it. I got so much off, and then I got so much more off. Because a lot of these textured materials like this, they're expensive. And they want like 20 bucks a yard for some of this stuff. A couple of them were like $29 a yard, but I don't know, I somehow hit it where I got so much off. I don't know if it was 30 or 40% off, but then I got another percentage off, so I got like almost 60% off. And you just use the underside of your little knife and push it in. See how pretty that looks? So now we're going to go with this. So I'm going to end up with this one, right? Yep. Good. So how is everyone doing tonight? Are you having warm weather like me? It's been in the 90s today. Tomorrow we're supposed to have 90s. I do love the warm weather. Although I was only out in it a little bit today. I will be out in it tomorrow a lot. My granddaughter is graduating, and I don't know if I slice that one. It's going to be outside, so I imagine it's going to be awfully hot. But I'm just glad I get to see her, because before we weren't going to be able to go, but now, since they've lifted things, I will be able to see her. I didn't get to see my other one. My oldest granddaughter, she graduated from state. I didn't get to go to that one. But then again, I was kind of glad because it was cold that day and they had it outside. And I thought, oh my God, they got to be freezing out there. Because I live in Michigan. The wonderful state that it can be 80 degrees and then 20 minutes it could go down to 50. Shove it in there. I haven't decided what trim I'm going to use on this. I don't know. I have some gold. I don't know if I want to use that or not. You just want to make sure it all goes into a point there, because you're going to be running your trim down there. Yes, yes. Yeah, what they showed for this year At the Dallas market, they had tons of these wonderful pumpkins all dollied up. They were all glammed up. Trim this down. Crease there. Let's pull this one out here. There we go. And if you have any questions after I'm through, I'll go through everything and I'll answer any questions that you would have. How about this? Making these, they're very, to me, they're simple. And once you've made one or two, it takes no time at all. There you be. All the pretty colors. Now we'll put trim on. You know, I had this. I took this off of an old belt I had. I was thinking maybe I'd use this. Let's see how this looks. This gives it really a brownie, brownie, brownie. Yeah, I like this the best. I like this one. Gives it more color. What is it? So what I do is I take, now I have, this is the surebond, and when I first started, I just had like a regular glue gun that I used, and I had found, I did like the impossible. I found the worst trim to use, but it was really cute. Had these little balls on the top, like little pom-poms, but they were little, but it had like a wedge, so I had to wedge it down there with glue. Oh my gosh, I was going crazy trying to not get glue on everything. With this one comes with tips. And these tips are wonderful because you can get into the little cracks and you don't have to worry about it getting all over. And I just really like it. It's like the best glue gun I've ever had. And also, it has temperatures. You can go from 400 to something. And it also has where you can change the flow, how much you want to come out. This is just, it was expensive, but it was worth it. And I really like it. Now I'm gonna take this, I bring it all the way down, then I'm gonna run it across. I try to stay on the same ones so that I don't end up going all over. And this is, I think this is 1/8, if I'm not mistaken. No, 3/16. It's tiny. So you don't want to screw up, because you don't got a whole lot of room for error with this. And we're gonna go down this one. And if you do get a little bit of glue somewhere, just let it dry. Don't do anything, just let it dry, and usually you can just peel it right off. That's why I like having the little ridge there, because it you kind of fill it in, and then you can just set your stuff right over top of it. Your trim. Then if I could maybe make something that got rid of glue strings, I would be the happiest camper in the whole wide world. Drives me crazy. Sometimes it doesn't catch it if you don't get enough in there, and you gotta add just a little bit more. Doesn't it look cute? stick it down in there. Bring it through. Look at how cute that is. Didn't that turn out just lovely? I think it's so adorable. Now, the stem for that, I'm probably gonna paint this because it was not very cute. It's just kind of dull. So I think what I'll do is I'll brush some brownie on it and then maybe some goldie over it to do it. Isn't that cute? And it really, I mean, it doesn't take any time at all. Now, I have this one. Now, this is the one that's done with the hard, it's got like the coating over top of it. And this one I was going to do with, the harvest with the pumpkins. I did cut. See, now this one was done, I measured out an 8. I think it's like 8. But what I can tell you is that no matter what type of pumpkin you get, as long as you measure it from the top to the bottom, make sure you get it in the middle because you want all your materials to go in the middle, and measure from here, you know, the side, from one side to the other, it should be just fine. And this one I'll probably do this weekend, and then I will show you how this one looks. I want to thank everyone for coming. Thank Cheryl for taking care of me, because I can't read that and do this at the same time. I get too engrossed. And I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed weekend. I know I'm going to be stifling out in the heat. I gotta find I have this umbrella that's reminds you of like it's from China, you know, but it's really pretty because it's got all these decorations on it. I'm going to take my little paper umbrella for me. My granddaughter's be like, oh my God, Grandma, don't embarrass us. But I know that heat will kill me sitting out there like that. But I want to thank you for stopping by, and if you haven't already, please subscribe so then you can get notices for when I'm going to be going on. And I think I might be changing my day because Saturdays are really kind of rough. I'm thinking I'm going to go to the week, but I'll send a notice out for that to let people know. And thanks a lot. And